Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So as always, and you've probably seen this a million times, we're going to go through a complete walkthrough of paper 1 arithmetic, yeah? And this is from the 2022 National Curriculum Test. So without further ado guys, let's go. And as always, this will be really helpful for my channel to grow and you'll see more nice contents like this. If you guys want more Key Stage 2 maths videos, please subscribe, share, like, and tell me about it in the comments. And other than that, let's get going, isn't it? Now, number 1. So we have 6,155 add 501 plus 649. So what I always like to lay it as a column. So I put 6, 1, 5, 5, and then 501 underneath, and then 6, 4, 9 here. And as always, we always add from the right hand side. So we got 5 add 1 is 6, and then 6 add 9 should give us 15. So you got 5, carry the 1, and you can just do 1 and 5 is 6, plus the 4 gives us 10, then carry the 1, and you got 1 and 1 is 2, 2 add 5 is 7, 7 add 6 is 13, so 3, carry the 1, and lastly 1 add 6 gives us 7. And that should be our answer for the very first question, 7,305. Now for number 2, anything times 0 is 0, so we move on. 3, 10 add something gives us 302. A nice trick is to just do the reverse, which is subtract 10, yeah? So we can subtract 10 mentally, or we can just be careful and just do it here. Put 302 and 10 over here, and just subtract it, because you have plenty of time to do this test. So you go 2 take away nothing is 2. 0 take away 1 you can't do, so you borrow from the neighbor. So cancel the 3 becomes a 2, and then give the 1 to the 0, so that's 10. 10 take away 1 is 9, and 2 take away nothing is 2. So that's the answer, guys, 292. Number 4, 2,400 divided by 2. So when you got questions like this, always use the bus stop. So you've got 2 here, start your bus stop like that and put 2, 4, 0, 0. And then we ask ourselves, how many times is this 2 go into that 2? Well, it goes exactly once. How many 2's go into 4? It goes exactly twice, so there's no remainder. How many 2's go into the zeros? Well, nothing each. So our final answer is 1,200. Now number 5. Something at 70 gives us 485. So same trick applies, yeah? We write 485 and we're going to subtract. Let's see what we get. So 5 take away nothing is 5. 8 take away 7 is 1, and the last one is 4. So exactly 415. Nice. So here we got 6.48 plus 8.6. What I want to do is just firstly write down the decimal points. So let's do decimal points here, and we put the numbers around it. So we've got 6.48, 8.6, and then we put the line and put a plus sign. Now then we just fill in the blanks with zeros. So we've got 8 plus nothing is 8, and just put decimal point here again. 4 plus 6 is 10, so 10, 0 carry the 1. And then 1 plus 6 is 7, 7 plus 8 should give us 15. So, and then because it's normal numbers, just write 15 like that. Okay, and that should, then we write over here, 15.0a. Good. Okay, so next one is number 7. We got something equals 240 divided by 8. So here they're just trying to trick you guys. So all they're really saying is 240 divided by 8. So we just do the bus stop method again. So we got 8 into 240. Same thing applies. How many 8's go into 2? You can't do. If you can't do that, then you just cancel and you put a 2 here. So that becomes a 24. Now how many 8's go into 24? So this is part of 8 times table. This goes exactly 3 times. Now 8 to 0 is 0. So our final answer is 30. Now next one, 840 divided by 5. Same thing again. 5 and then bus stop, 840. And we ask ourselves, how many times 5 go into 8? It goes exactly once, but this time you get a remainder of 3. Now here, how many 5's go into 34? Well, just checking your 5 times table, it goes all the way up to 30, so that's 6 times. So you get exactly 6, and you get a remainder of 4. Now how many 5s go into 40? Well, we know 5 times 8 is 40, so it goes exactly 8 times. Cool, so it should be 168. Nice. Now for number 9, we got 7,306 minus 1,847. So let's lay this out, yeah, in a nice column. So we got 7,306 and then 1,847. Put a subtraction sign, and let's try this out. So first things first, 6 take away 7 you can't do because 6 is smaller. So we borrow from the neighbor and you can't because there's nothing there. So we borrow from the 3. So we cancel the 3, make it a 2. Give that 1 you took over here. That makes it 10. But then cancel this one and it becomes a 9. Give that 1 you took and give it to the 6. So now you got 16 take away 7. So that gives us actually a 9. And then 9 take away 4 gives us a 5. 2 take away 8 you can't do. So you borrow from the neighbor again. So that 7 becomes a 6 and you carry the 1. So now we've got 12. 12 take away 8 is 4. And finally 6 take away 1 is 5. So your final answer should be 5,459. That's it, not bad. Looks like we're doing pretty good. Now 1,010 times 10. So every time you times a number by 10, you just stick a 0 at the end, yeah? So it's just going to be the same value, but with a 0. So 10,100. Cool. Next one, 560 divided by 7. So we're just going to use that trick again. So we're going to look at these two numbers, 56. How many 7s go into 56? Well, it should go exactly 8 times. And because you got 0, it will be 8t. Exactly. Now, 12. We've got 6 times 10 times 11. So the way to do this, I would always do probably I would always leave the 10s last because you can times it in any order. So let's do 6 times 11. If you do 6 times 11, you should get 66. And you times against the 10. When you times it by 10, you stick a 0. So it'll be 660. Nice. Next one. How many 9s go into 1080? Well, just to be safe, let's use the bus stop. Sometimes the numbers are too big. You don't want to risk it. But let's have a look. So how many 9s go into 1? Well, you can't do. So this cancels and becomes a 10 here. How many 9s go into 10? Well, it goes exactly once, so remainder 1. How many 9s go into 18? Well, twice. And then how many 9s go into nothing? 0. So 120. Cool. Alright, so now here comes a big question. So you got 500,000 take away 5,000. So let's line it up as a column. So 500 here and then 3 more zeros. And then be very careful how you line this up. So you got 5,000. So it should start here. 5000. And then put your minus sign. And now let's take away all the zeros first, because there's a lot of them. So you got 0, take away 0, which is 0, and then 0, and then 0. So all you're left with really is 500 take away 5, which is 495. That's just the easy way to do it. So you get 495. You can put a comma if you like, and then 3 zeros. Next one, 596 times 7. So let's write out here. So 596 times 7. Cool. And then we got 6 times 7. So we're gonna, the way we do this one, you times all of these by that single digit. So let's start with 6. 6 times 7. That gives us exactly 42. So you put a 2 there, carry the 4. Next one, you got 7 times 9. That's 63. And then you add 4 more, you should get 67. So 7 and then carry the 6, and you can cross it out now. Next one, you got 7 times 5, which is 35. Add a 6, you should get 41. And then because no more numbers, you can just write 41. So 4,172. Good. So far, looks like we're doing pretty good. Let's move on. Now you got 2.12 divided by 10. When you divide a number by 10, you just move the decimal place back. So it means the numbers get smaller. So to make it smaller, this decimal must go this way around. So it's going to appear here. So it's going to be something like 0.212. And because you've got nothing in front, you just stick a 0. So the final answer is 0.212. Nice. Alright, 17. So this is going to be a longer division question. So we have 21 into 672. So let's try this out. So this means we're going to have to list our 21 times tables. but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens here. So first things first, how many times does 21 go into 6? Well, you can't do because it's too big. Well, I mean, because the 6 is too small, so you cancel the 6 and put it over here. So now we've got 67. So what I want you to do, guys, is list your 21 tables on the right hand side. So starting from 21, keep adding 21. So we've got another 21, which is 42, and then 63, and then 84. Just notice the trick. The tens go up in 2s and units go up in 1s. So now, because you want to find how many times 21 goes into 67, we can clearly see it goes 3 times. It stops at 63. So it's 3 times, and then the difference between 63 and 67 is just 4. So you stick a remainder of 4 here. Now how many times does 21 go to 42? Well, it goes exactly 2 times. And then your answer is 32. Cool. Not bad at all. Fractions. So we've got 4 9ths plus 2/3. Now every time you got a fraction problem, always make sure that the denominator is the same. So we look at the 3 and look at the 9. And we can see that 3's and 9's are the same. Well, 9 is kind of part of it's part of the 3 times table. To get to 9, you can just multiply the right side by 3. So if you times all of this by 3, then you have to do it up and down, yeah? We should get, so the left one's still 4 9ths. 2/3 times up and down by 3, you get 6 over 9. And now when you have common denominators, you can just add up the top line. 4 plus 6 is 10. So you get 10 over 9, and that is our answer. Okay? Okay, here you go, long multiplication now. So let's have a go at this one. First we're going to do is we're going to firstly times everything by 3, and then we're going to times everything by 8. And I'll show you guys a nice fast way to do this. So let's do it. So you got 3 times 7 is 21, so 1, carry the 2. Next you do 3 times nothing is nothing, plus the 2 is 2. So that's a nice question. And then 3 times 6 is 18, so because no numbers left, we write 18. Now I'm going to change the color pen. I know you guys can't do it in exam, but it just helps it so for your revision. And also when you finish with the values, cross out the old values, yeah, because it helps a lot. Now when you move to the tens column, you have to put a 0 in its place here to show that you're on the tens. So let's multiply everything by 8 now. So you've got 8 times 7, that's going to give us exactly 56. So 6, and then carry the 5, so I'm going to put the 5 up here. 8 times nothing is 0, plus 5 is 5, and then 8 times 6 is going to give us exactly 48. There's no remainder, so 4, 8. And now we just add everything up. So we got 1 plus 0 is 1. Let's put a plus here. 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 add 5 is 13, so 3 carry the 1. 1 add 1 plus 8 is 10, carry the 1. And lastly, 1 add 4 is 5. So you should get exactly 50,381. And then we can write it over here. Nice. Not bad. So as always, a long multiplication. Just be careful and always take your time, guys, yeah? And for number 20, we got 13.05 times 1,000. So we know if it was 13 times 1,000, it'd be 13,000. But because you got decimals, we got to move it 3 places to the right because you got 3 zeros. So let's lay it out this way, yeah? So we can have, so if you move the decimal, it would be like 1 here, 2 here, and then 3. So you imagine there's a 0 there. So the number is actually 13,050. And we don't have to write a decimal anymore because there's no more numbers. So that's your answer, 13,050. Now for 21, we've got 2/3 plus 2 wholes and 1/3. Now because you've got common denominators, it makes it a lot easier. So we just add up the fractions and then separate the wholes. So let's leave the 2 whole here. You got 2/3 add 1/3. That gives you 3/3. And guess what? 3/3 is 1 whole itself. So that's basically 2 plus 1 extra whole, which is 3. Nice and easy. Now 7/10 of 30. Well, the trick of fractions is that you always divide by the bottom and times by the top. So let's see. So how many 10s go into 30? Well, it goes 3 times. Times against the top? Well, 3 times 7 is 21. Now 23. 8 take away 5.123. So because you got a decimal, we're going to firstly line up by the whole numbers first, yeah? So you got 8 here, and then you got 5, and then you put a decimal point. 1, 2, 3. And because there's no decimal point above, just make a fake one, 0.000. And then put a minus sign. You can kind of think of this as like 8,000, take away 5,123, but a decimal version. Now when we subtract it, we can do the same way. So let's have a look. So 0 take away nothing, 0 take away 3 you can't do, so you have to borrow all the way from 8, that becomes a 7. Next number becomes a 10, borrow 9, becomes a 10, borrow 9, that becomes a 10. Now we subtract. So 10 take away 3 is 7, 9 take away 2 is also 7, 9 take away 1 is 8, and then 7 take away 5 is 2. So you get 2.877. Nice. So far so good. So next one's 24. We got 1/8 divided by 2. So when you divide by something else, we go use something called the KFC method, yeah? Which is keep the first fraction, flip the second, and change the sign. So let's try out. So this 2 we have to write as a whole number firstly, 2 over 1, because it's easier. And when you divide, you just change that to a times and you flip the second fraction. So we're going to have 1 over 8 times, and instead of 2 over 1, it becomes 1 over 2. And this is so easy now. When you multiply, you just multiply across. So 1 times 1 is 1. 8 times 2 is 16. So 1 over 16. Cool. Now, 1/2 plus 1/3. So here we need to have common denominators because we're adding a fraction. A nice trick is to basically circle both of them and then times the left and right by the opposite numbers on added denominator. So because you got 2 here and you got 3 here, we can times the left side by 3 and the right side by 2, up and down. So that way you both end up with the same number. So if you times the left side by 3, 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 3 is 6, add. Times the right side by 2, you get 2 over 6. And now adding it now, because you got common denominators, you can add up the top line. So 3 plus 2 is 5, so you get 5 over 6. Never add the common denominator, otherwise you didn't need to have to do this. So you always have to have the same weight to the bottom. But good. So move on to 26. So we have 26 minus 2.012. So kind of like another question. So here you're going to firstly write 26, line up the whole numbers and 2 underneath. Then you line up the decimal, 0, 1, 2, 0, 0, and then we subtract. So here we're going to do, so because we've got nothing, you can't do, so we're going to borrow from the 26. That becomes 25, yeah? And then you give the 1 here. Borrow from the 10 becomes a 9, give it 1. Borrow from the 10 makes it a 9, give it 1. So looking at all of this, we're going to have now 10 take away 2, which is 8. 9 take away 1 is also 8, just like another one. And 9 take away 0 is 9. Whew, I almost messed up there. Now, last one, 25 take away 2 is 23. And then we got an answer, which is 23.988. Good. So far so good. Now, 15% of 3,200. Nice trick with percentages is to always break them apart, yeah? So when you got percentages, always try and find 10% and 1%. So much easier that way. So let's find 10% and I'll explain why. 10% just means that you just divide them by 10. So if you divide 3,200 by 10, you just, in this case, cross out a 0. So you got 320. That's 10% of 3,200. And then let's find, in this case, in fact, you know what we don't have to do? Let's find 5% because that's half of 10%, isn't it? Well, to find 5%, you just half your 10% value. So you half 320, which is 160. And now, to get 15%, well, you can literally just add up your two answers. So 320 add 160. If you do that, you should get 480. Okay, nice. Now, 2% of 3,000. Well, just like that one. So first you find 10% because it helps. 10% means divide by 10. So cross out zeros, you get 300. And then find 1%, which also means divide by 10 again. So you get 30. And to get 2% is what they want. You just double your 1% value. So double 30 gives us 60. And that's it. That's your answer for this one too. Now, 29, long division. So we've got 73 into 3,066. So for this one, you need to know your 73 times table, guys. So you have to literally list them all out. Okay, so I'll do 73. The next one, add another 73, you get 146. Add another 73, get 219. So a trick I did here for the first three, we know the left side is 7 times table, right side is 3, but it doesn't. After that it gets harder. But let's see what we actually do need. So 73 into 3, you can't do. So you cross out and you give this one a 3, it becomes 30. 73 into 30, well, you can't do either because it's too small. So the next one becomes 306. So 306. Whew. So that means we need to keep going. So we need to add another 73. So if you're not sure, just do your working out here. So 219 add 73. 9 plus 3 is 12, so 2 carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Add 7 is 9. And then 2 add nothing is 2. 292. Okay, that looks a lot easier. Now, if you add another 73 to this one, then you get 365. So that's as far as it goes. So now we can work it out. So how many 73s go into 306? Well, we can see it goes all the way up to 292. That's 4. And now the remainder is the difference between 306 and 292. So we got 306 minus 292. And if you subtract that, well, 6 take away 2 is 4. And then 0 take away 9 you can't do, borrow from the 3. Make it a 10. So your 10 take away 9 is 1 and then 0. So the remainder is exactly 14. So thankfully the number is a lot easier. It's how many 73s go into 146. And that goes exactly twice. So that was nice. So that wasn't as horrible as it could have been. Now, let's move on to the next one. 80% of 115. Well, as always, you should always find 10%. So divide this by 10. Because it's not a 0, you could just put a decimal place at 11.5. And then to get 80%, you need to times your answer by 8 because it's 8 times bigger. 10 is 8. 80 is 8 times bigger than 10. So let's do it. So we've got 11.5 times 8. Yep. This will give us 80%. So I'll put it below. So let's do it. So 5 times 8 is 40. So 0 carry the 4 and then line up the decimal. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 4 is 12. So 2 carry the 1. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So you get exactly 92. So we can ignore that value. So our answer is 92. And this would be 80%. Now, 31. 2 sevens minus 1 ninth. So of all adding and subtracting fraction questions, you should always circle the two fractions. And then multiply left and right side by the values of the denominator, which they don't have. So because you've got 7 on the left and 9 on the right, you can times the left by 9 and the right by 7. So the opposites, up and down, yeah? So times in the left fraction up and down by 9, you should get 18 over 63 minus in the second fraction, times up and down by 7, you should get 7 over 63. And then 18 take away 7 is just 11. So the final answer is 11 over 63. That's it. That's all you do with fraction questions. Always just times up and down by its opposite denominators. Good. Now for the next one, we're going to have 2 1/2 minus 2/3. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is firstly change this one into an improper, into a single fraction. Now the trick is, to change a mixed to improper, just times the whole number by the bottom and add it to the top. So basically 2 times 2 is 4, and then added to 1 you get 5. So the first fraction is 5 over 2 minus 2 over 3. Now what we're going to do, we're going to circle both fractions and then times the left side by the other denominator, which is 3, and times the right side by the other denominator, which is 2. And that's how you make them have common denominator, because that's exactly what we want. So if you times the left side by 3, you get 15 over 6. Times the right side by 2, you get 4 over 6. And now 15 take away 4 is 11. So the final answer is 11 over 6. Nice. Alright, 33. So another long multiplication question. So what do we have? So we got 4,078 times 67. So first trick is always multiply everything by 7 first. Get your answers. And then we're going to times everything by the 60 part, which is the 6. So let's do that first. Times by 7. So 7 times 8. That should give us 56. So 6, and then carry and put the 5 up here. Make sure you write the number a bit small, yeah, so you can cross out later when you work on the 6. And our next one, 7 times 7 is 49. Add the 5, you get 54. So 4, carry the 5 again. 7 times nothing is 0. Add 5 is 5, so that's good. And then 7 times 4 is 28. So just write them both because they're all done. Now you can just cross them out. Now we're going to move on to the 6. When you move on to the tens column, you must put a 0 here all the time. Yeah, it's the default. Now let's repeat the process. We got 6 times 8, which is 48. So you just put the 8 here and then carry the 4. Next you do 6 times 7, which is 42. Add the 4, which is going to give us 46. 6 and then carry the 4 again. Another 4. 6 times nothing is nothing. Add 4, give us 4. And then lastly, 6 times 4 would be 6 times 4. Sorry, I just had a little brain moment. So 6 times 4 would be 24. And that's it. And you put the 24 here. And now you just add. Alright, not bad. So, whoa, that's a big number, isn't it? So, let's check it out. So you got 6 add nothing is 6. 4 add 8 is 12. So 2 carry the 1. So I'm going to put the 1 down here. So you got 5 add 1 is 6. Add another 6 is 12. Carry another 1. You got 8 and 4 is 12. Add 1 is 13. Carry the 1. 2 add 4 is 6. Add 1 is 7. And then lastly 2. So the final answer reads 273,226. Wow, that's a big answer. Tell me how you guys did in this one. See if you guys got the same result. I think that should be the correct answer. I'm going to double check anyway, so it should be fine. Now, we've got a few more questions to go. Number 34. So you've got 10 minus 2 1/4. So as always, let's combine the mixed number into a single improper fraction. To do that, you always do 2 times the bottom. So it'll be 2 times 4, which is 8, and add it to the top, which is 1, and that gives you 9. So that means our question is now 10 take away 9/4. And because you got a whole number 10, all you got to do is make that over 1. So it's 10 over 1 take away 9/4. And now for all fraction problems, you have to have common denominator, so let's circle both of them. You times the left side by the other denominator, and you times the right side by the other denominator, which is 1, so no change. So times the left side by 4, you get 40 over 4, minus the right side, 9 over 4. So 40 take away 9 is just 31. So 31 over 4 is your final answer. Okay, cool. Now number 35. So we've got 6 plus 4 divided by 2. So every time you got mixed signs like plus and times and divides in the same place, always underline every single plus and divide sign. So I'm going to underline these two, yeah? And we always do them first because in BODMAS, you always do times and divide first, and then you always do add and subtraction in the end, yeah? So these are always at the end. Now, let's do 4 divided by 2. Well, that's obviously just 2. And then you're left with 6 plus 2, which is 8. Nice. And the last one, 4/5 of 400. Well, nice easy trick here. We can either times first or divide by the bottom. I'm going to divide first because I can see that 5 goes into 40. Well, 5 goes into 40 exactly 8 times. So therefore 5 goes into 400 80 times. And then we times it by the top, which is 4. 80 times 4, well, we know that 8 times 4 is 32. And then you add a 0. And that's it, guys. This is the whole paper done.